Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews. My name is James, and here I like to explore the world of fountain pens and ink and paper. And today, it's fountain pen day. You may recognize the understated silvery gray box as one from Pilot, and that's exactly right. What you will not find is any indication whatsoever on this box as to what pen lies inside. But some of you are like detectives. You read the title of the video before you even clicked play, and you already know what's in here, right? Yes, it is the Pilot Elite 95S, a gold nibbed fountain pen. This one I've actually had for a long time, but I put it back in the box so that through the magic of YouTube, you could find out what it's like when you first buy the pen. So let's spin that camera and unbox that puppy. All right, now when your E95S arrives, it will come in the fairly standard Pilot silver box, which contains what I like to refer to as the Pilot pen coffin. I mean, look at that. That really is pretty much what you got there, the old pen coffin. When you open that up, there you have Pilot emblazoned in gold tone there, and you have a few things. You have first your warranty information and all that good stuff. Then instructions on how to care for your pen, and this pretty much contains information on various Pilot pens, not just the E95 standard little insert. You will get an ink cartridge with black Pilot ink, and you will receive your pen in a protective plastic pouch. And once you get that pen out of that pouch, well, I've really kind of reassembled all this for your benefit. I always remove that. I mean, why wouldn't you? And I have already removed that pesky little nib size sticker. Then you can see what a great little pen this is. And I do always remove the little sticker there. I know some people leave it on there in case they ever decide to sell the pen. But for me, that's just a little bit too mini pearl. The pen is black and gold. You can also get it in a nice burgundy color that looks really good as well. But I wanted that classic black and gold look when I ordered mine. So at the top of the pen, you just have that glossy finial. Nothing much to look at there. You have a gold trim band here, and then you have the clip, which works really well, springy but firm. And then you come down to the bottom of the cap, and you have that thick double trim line. You have Elite written there in script. I think that looks cool. And of course, made in Japan. Now this is a pocket pen. If you didn't know that already, you know it now. So that means that it is short. There are two kinds of pocket pens, really. There are metal pens like the Lilliput or the Gravitas Pocket, which I carry all the time. And those are really kind of meant to just throw in your pocket. Literally, they are pocket pens. You might put it in a jeans pocket. That's all right. I carry my Gravitas in my pocket with my keys and my pocket knife and everything because brass is durable and it can take it. And then there's the second kind of pocket pen like this one. And that is a pen that is short enough to fit in various kinds of pockets. That might be the pen loop or pocket for a small notebook cover or pouch. It might be in a bag, or in my case, it would be a shirt pocket. And currently, shirt pockets have been shrinking in their depth or disappearing altogether. So I always like to have a pen like this or like the Prera there in the background that's a bit shorter and accommodates those shorter shirt pockets so that I can have a pen that doesn't stick up. If a pen, pretend my hand is the pocket, if a pen is sticking up this much, at least on me, I feel that looks a lot like the flower on Bozo the Clown. I don't want that. I'm not saying that if you do it, I'm not judging you. I don't care what's in your shirt pocket, but I don't like things that stick up that much. They just kind of drive me a little nutty. They don't feel as secure. And so I like a pen to come to about here, at the highest actually. So I grab a short pen like this. So that's one of the strengths and the use cases for this style of pocket pen. If your shirt pockets are shallow and you like to carry a pen in your shirt pocket, then you need one in a length like this, or maybe even a little bit shorter. Now that need has actually been around a long time. These came out in the 60s, if I remember correctly. Sailor coming out first, and then Pilot and Platinum and other makers piling on. Each one of them has some uniqueness, and I think the Pilot is probably my favorite of those, although I do have a vintage Sailor pocket pen that I have yet to unbox. I'm going to do that in an unboxing video very shortly. This was made either in the late 60s or the early 70s in a window there. between probably 68, 69, and 72, 3, 4, somewhere in there. I ordered this after a tip-off from a subscriber, and I actually have not opened it yet. I just have had to talk myself into cutting away at this tape and wrapping that has existed at least as long as I have. But I will do that, and I will do that soon, and I will share it with you when I do, and then later on, we'll do a little comparison test between these two pens. That should be interesting. Anywho, though, back to the Pilot. Great looking pen. One of the other things I love about these pens, and it will be true of that Sailor as well, is that not only do they, of course, post, but when they do, you get a nice, stately, full-sized pen with a very good-looking and interesting gold nib. It's one that's very comfortable in the hand and a great writer. You can write with this one for a long time. It's kind of pocket pen perfection when it comes to its ergonomics in its posted form. Now, before we get to that nib, as we come down to the barrel, of course, it's a bit of a shallow barrel, not too long. It has this trim piece, which also acts as a stop for the cap from both directions. You unscrew that and you will find that a Kon-40 converter will fit. Now, for some of you, that's a downside, right? You don't like the Kon-40, and I get it. It's shallow in its capacity. It doesn't actually fill fully very reliably, and it's just not people's favorites. I really wish that the good engineers at Pilot would set their sights on a remedy for the Kon-40. But this is the converter that fits. Otherwise, I would also suggest just using an empty proprietary Pilot cartridge and refilling that with a syringe. And actually, the Kon-40, I don't use it as a piston converter. I use it as a syringe-filled converter, which the sad thing is you still get reduced capacity over a previously used empty cartridge. But it is what it is. That's what we've got to work with. It is the only Achilles heel as far as I'm concerned with this pen. I don't know that you can really call this a grip section. We'll call this a grip body. It's nice and long, which means you can find a place, whether you're low gripper, high gripper, mid gripper, super high gripper, uber gripper, you can find a place you may grip your pen like this and you can still do it. Anywho, you get down to that nib, and let me just say, the profile of the nib, both from the side and from the top, I thoroughly enjoy, and I think it just hit me a little while ago what it is I like so much about this. When I was a kid and I got bored in school, which did happen now and then, my pencils and pens became planes, trains, and automobiles when I was in elementary school. And this would have really caught my imagination because when I was in elementary school, the Concorde was in the air, and it was promising at the time to revolutionize air travel, and it was my dream, unfortunately never fulfilled, to fly on the Concorde. And this has that same aesthetic, and I think that looks really quite cool. But what about that gold nib? So it is a nice sizable nib. It writes smoothly. It has terrific flow. You can see there just a little bit of the plastic feed sticking out. Just a great looking pen, and one of the things that I do like about it in terms of the nib and its aesthetic is that not only does it spark my imagination of the Concorde, but it has a very familiar vintage feel, and I like that. There's a heritage to the look of this pen that is thoroughly mid-century modern, which of course a lot of people are into that aesthetic, and as a recovering wannabe architect, me too. So I really like this pen for its style as well as its function. It is really just a fun pen to look at, to write with. The feel, the plastic, is very high quality, and it has something of a vintage feel there too. It has a classic Pilot quality feel to it as well. The same kind of thing that you would get, for example, for the Custom Heritage 912 back here or the 92. Both of those pens have a great feel, especially that 912. I only sort of like its nib. I love everything else about that pen, and I'll share that pen with you in the not too distant future as well. But getting back to the nib, absolutely fantastic. So you see a lot of reviews, you read a lot of blog posts about how this is one of the best gold nibs to start with, in part because prior to recent inflation adjustments and tariff adjustments, this was at the more affordable end of gold nibs. Now, gold has been going up, and so it's making any gold nib pen more expensive outside of those other issues. And so you can't get this pen anywhere near what I got mine for a year or two ago. But competitively, it is still a great place to go to find a gold nib pen. And you end up with a pen that may be a bit more versatile in a lot of carry situations, which just makes the case even better for one of these, right? So all that said to say, it's not hype. It really is a great way to experience a gold nibbed pen, whether it is for you just a place to start or whether it's the only one you ever purchase. It is a great writer. Now, you're not going to have some of the options of specialty nibs like you would have with the 912, but if you're looking for an extra fine medium for everyday writing, this may be something that you want to check out and consider. All right, here's the Pilot Elite 95S, and it might be hard for you as it was for me to look at this pen in ads or on a website where it's being sold by itself and really understand the size of this pen. So let's put a Pilot Prera. This is a very common Pilot offering. It is also a handy daily carry pen, great writer, very different design from the Elite, and a steel nibbed pen. And if gold doesn't matter to you, this is a great EDC pen and one that a lot of people really enjoy. And as you can see, in its capped length, these are actually very close in size. That Prera is a little bit taller, but the Prera fits most of those short pockets that I was talking about. Now, another Pilot offering that I really like, and it makes for a great everyday carry pen as long as it fits in your pocket or your pen pouch or whatever it is that you use, would be the Vanishing Point or capless, depending on where you are. But look at the size difference. The Pilot Vanishing Point is not a small pen, and so it often is too long for the shirt that I want to wear that day, and so then it gets bumped, which is a shame because I really like that pen and I like to carry that pen, especially if I'm going into a meeting or something where, capping and uncapping and just click it instead. I like it for that. But the fact that it doesn't fit in the pocket does get it booted from the carpool every now and then. And then there is, very similar in size to the Vanishing Point, the Pilot Metropolitan. Another great pen, another steel nib, very reliable pen. Lots of people love it. And I'm one of those people who really like that pen. But, same thing. Sometimes it just doesn't fit the pocket. All right, lined up end to end, uncapped and unposted, you really see a dramatic difference here, obviously. So it's short, just like the Prera, and most people are going to be able to write with either of those pens unposted, but you're going to prefer them posted most likely. And why is that? Because when you post the pen, things get interesting. Now, only the Metropolitan is longer than the Elite 95S. You end up with a full-size pen with a nice diameter to it and no step down anywhere in the grip section itself. It's higher up the barrel. Great balance. And out of these four pens, the most comfortable writer and my favorite nib of the group. So once you post this pen, everything changes and you start to see the appeal because you're not going to realize looking at ads where this pen is all by itself, just what it becomes once it's posted. It becomes a true, full-size, high-quality pen. Let's see how the pen writes. Well, I kind of already have an idea. I've been writing with this thing for a long time. Plus, I actually already thought I had filmed the writing for this, only to find that I never hit the record button. You hear that from us YouTube pen people every now and then. I'm just glad I'm not the only one that has that problem. E95S. This is a medium gold nib. Writes really well. Let me just do the wetness for you right away. Look at that. Even after having that cap off so long, doing all that talking. Really good flow. Now you don't find a lot of line variation or anything like that. And it's not a flex nib, but it's well ground, it's gold, and it's smooth and really, really pleasant to write with. You see a little bit just there naturally. The line variation on that P is because of my own lift of the nib, not intentional actually. Not surprised there either, are you? I just like it. It's one of those pens that as you write with it, it kind of disappears after a while, which is, to me, is the sign of a good nib. You enjoy it, you notice it at first, for its smoothness or its character or its variation, but then it disappears and gets out of the way and becomes just a pleasant pen to write with. And that is very much what this one is. Paper today, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this already or not, because that might have been on the first time that I recorded, is Ayush Paper. Handy little notebook. I've misplaced my Rhodia pad that I do most of these tests with, but that's all right. And I like this paper. It brings out good qualities in the ink, and the inks tend to be very well behaved on this paper. Smooth. A lot of artists like it for sketches and things like that. I enjoy it. Let's do our speed test, and we'll see how it keeps up. I can tell you it's going to do well, but I'm going to prove it. All right. I lifted somewhere there, and then everything else, just fine. No problems there whatsoever. Now, I don't have problems with this pen. It's a very enjoyable pen to write with. Its weight and balance are excellent. And that's excellent for any pen, not just excellent for a pocket pen. It is one of those pens that if I needed to get rid of everything else and somebody else chose for me, because I don't know what I would choose, I would be sitting there trying to figure that out for far too long. But if somebody else said, James, you only get to keep that one, I'm fine with that. Okay, that's fine with me. If this is the only pen, James is a happy man. Now, granted, you've heard me say that about other pens. There are a lot of great pens out there. And even among Pilot's pens, there are several that I would say that about. But this would be among the Pilot pens in the, I'm going to say top 3, maybe top 2 of their pens that if it was the only pen I ever owned, I'd be happy about it. It is that good. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. Why don't you chime in with what you think about this pen in the comments below? If you've got an alternative you think is better, put that in the comments below as well. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I want to encourage you to subscribe, because don't forget, I'm going to unbox that vintage Sailor pen soon, and you're probably going to want to know about that one as well. So hit subscribe, hit that bell, then get out there and write with your own pens and enjoy it. God bless you. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.